What's up guys, I'm Herb and welcome to Silicon Tech. Today we'll be getting into the iPad Pro 2020. I have here the 12.9-inch cellular version with 256 gigabytes of storage. Now the iPad Pro 2020 isn't all that different from the iPad Pro 2018 version, but it does have an upgraded camera system, a LiDAR scanner, and a keyboard that gives it a good shot at becoming a laptop replacement. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Now I've had the iPad Pro for about 8 months now, and it's been my only computer since then. And this was a fact that I was a little nervous about at first. But I can honestly say I had no reason to be worried, and it's definitely been a pleasant machine to work with. It definitely gives me new and creative ways to think outside the box when it comes to my workflow and entertainment options. But if you're thinking about getting an iPad Pro as your only computer, your mileage may vary, honestly. It's really going to depend on what your needs are, what are you going to ask of it, and what you're not willing to compromise on going from a laptop to a primary tablet. But one thing you can't deny is that the iPad Pro is just way more fun than traditional laptop or desktop. It gives you many ways to do different tasks, and I've definitely looked forward to using it each day, and it's definitely giving me excitement to do even some of the most mundane basic tasks that I have on my daily schedule. But let's get into the review and see how the iPad Pro 2020 stacks up. Now, one of my favorite things about any product, especially a product that I'm just getting introduced to, is the design. Now, how I think about design, if I'm going to be using a product for hours per day for years to come, I want it to be easy on the eyes, fun and functional, and just have a design that I enjoy. And the iPad Pro 2020 definitely doesn't disappoint in this regard. Now, the design language of the iPad Pro, specifically when it comes to iPads, is 2+ years old because it comes from the 2018 version. But I still think this design is ahead of its time. And Apple seems to think so too, because it's using this design language in its newest headsets, the iPhone 12 series. But who can honestly argue against the iPad Pro's 12.9-inch pane of glass and 1.42 pounds of lightweight aluminum, making it a portability beast? It's definitely been easy for me to carry and tow no matter where I'm going, and being able to just pop it down and to get some entertainment or to get some work done has definitely been a huge plus in owning it. And behind that 12.9-inch pane of glass is water-like fluidity from a 120 Hz liquid retina display that can reach up to 600 nits of brightness, all while pushing out 264 pixels per inch. And even though the iPad Pro 2020 isn't sporting an OLED screen like many Android tablet competitors, this has honestly been the best LCD I've used. Definitely the best LCD on a tablet, and you can make the argument for the best LCD on any device. I love watching shows and movies on it, as well as gaming and taking notes, because I never thought I would enjoy taking notes on the iPad. And depending on the task you throw at it, the screen can reach its maximum 120 Hz for things like gaming, and can go as low as 24 Hz for things like movie watching, making it optimal for smoothness and efficiency. Now, many praises can be given to the iPad Pro's liquid retina display, but it's definitely no slouch in the audio department either. I've definitely enjoyed listening to music on it and watching some of my favorite movies on it, as the audio is being pumped from 4 stereo speakers, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, that make it a well-balanced sounding experience. Speaking of sounds from the other end, we have to talk about the iPad Pro's microphone system. It features 5 studio quality mics scattered throughout the body of the system, and that gives you more options to be heard from various angles around the device, delivering excellent audio on both video calls and recordings. Now, the iPad Pro 2020 supports the same 7 megapixel true depth camera from the 2018 version. And you'll be using this for Face ID to unlock the system and do things like verify payments in different apps, as well as providing high quality video calls. But my only complaint about the front-facing camera is that when the iPad is placed in landscape orientation, you can look like you're not staring at the person who you're talking to on video calls, so it makes you look like you're not paying attention. Front-facing camera can also be fun to use by taking a lot of the beloved camera features from the iPhone. Features like portrait mode, Memoji, and Animoji. And when recording video on the front-facing camera, you have the options to shoot 1080p at 30 or 60 frames per second. Now, as I mentioned, the 2020 iPad Pro has the same exact front-facing camera as the 2018 version. But where it separates itself from the 2018 version is in the rear cameras. And yeah, that's right, the iPad Pro has a dual camera system in the rear, and that includes a wide-angle lens at 12 megapixels and an ultra-wide lens at 10 megapixels. With the wide lens, you can record 4K video at 24, 30, and 60 frames per second. And the ultra-wide lens lets you record 4K videos at 60 frames per second. There is also slow motion support at 1080p at 120 or 240 frames per second on the wide-angle lens, and only 240 frames per second on the ultra-wide-angle lens. Now, many people claim that iPad photography and videography is ridiculous, but to each his own. I personally think that this is a more than capable camera system to where it can easily be a second or third shooter depending on what you have going on and what scenes you're trying to capture. And to round out the camera system, we have to talk about the LiDAR scanner. Now, I know the LiDAR scanner isn't particularly useful for photography like it is in the iPhone 12 Pro series, but it technically still needs to be used with the camera to bring to life the AR experiences that Apple is trying to provide on it. And yeah, that's right, AR. Now, I don't have much experience with AR. I've used the LiDAR sensor for a couple of games on the iPad, and also kind of like in Apple product placement splurge, like around my place where I just place all kind of Apple products that I don't have. Yeah, but LiDAR is coming to more and more Apple devices nowadays, and I'm pretty sure in the future. So it's probably going to be best for them to give more of an AR experience as time goes on. So I truly think in the future it will be worth the investment. Now, under the hood of the iPad Pro 2020 is pushing an 8-core 812Z Bionic chip. And this chip is very, very similar to the A12X chip that is found in the iPad Pro 2018 version. The only thing that separates them is one additional GPU core that is basically open to use on the 2020 version. All models of the iPad Pro 2020 support 6 gigabytes of RAM, and this is very helpful for tasks such as multitasking, video editing, and as well as gaming. The multitasking on the 12.9 inch is definitely a game changer because it takes advantage of the iPad's huge screen real estate and the buttery smooth performance from the A12Z. I haven't had any slowdown with multiple power hungry apps open, and it's basically provided a lot of power for my needs. Now, there will be more powerful 8 series chips coming down the pipeline from Apple, but the A12Z definitely has a lot of headroom, and I think it'll be a relevant chip for years to come, and will definitely be receiving many future updates from Apple. So the hardware of the iPad Pro 2020 is on a league of its own when you look at the overall physical package. But for years, what have separated iPads from a lot of their Android tablet competition is the software. A cohesive software across all tablets that just works. Now, you may look at iPad OS and think that it's just a copy and paste of iOS from the iPhone, but you'd be mistaken. iOS takes advantage of the iPad's extra screen real estate with multitasking, different and better app layouts, widgets, and Scribble. Yes, Scribble, something that I didn't know I needed until I got it. iPadOS also brings a host of possibilities through the iPad's creativity and productivity apps. Now, I definitely look forward to using my iPad Pro every day. It's an excellent tablet and a very solid laptop replacement. It's been very fun and innovative to use. Now, I mostly use it for work-related tasks through its productivity apps, as well as surfing the web, gaming, creativity, and learning. On average, I can put in about 4 hours a day doing a combination of any of those things, but have never ran into any battery hurdles. The 12.9-inch features a 36.71 watt battery, which is good for about 10 hours of web surfing and video playback on Wi-Fi, and about 9 hours of surfing the web and video playback on cellular. For me, the battery lasts about a day and a half on most occasions. So as we've seen so far, the iPad Pro 2020 is definitely a solid device in design as well as power, and provides a very solid experience when you're just going about using it. But I would make a point to say where the iPad Pro truly shines is in its accessories. Two in particular: the Magic Keyboard and the Apple Pencil. With these two accessories, the iPad is just unlocked. They make it one of the most versatile pieces of tech on the market right now. At one moment, you can be doing something like typing a document, and the next, just rip the iPad Pro off of the Magic Keyboard and mark up that said document with the Apple Pencil. The Apple Pencil provides an outlet for creative expression on apps like Procreate, and the Magic Keyboard provides one of the best typing experiences on a computer, let alone a tablet. I'll have a review on the Apple Pencil and the Magic Keyboard on upcoming videos, so make sure you look for those in the future. To wrap it up, the iPad Pro 2020, plain and simple, is the best iPad you can buy right now. This may not be the case in the next coming days or weeks with the rumored iPad Pro 2021 to hit the market, but even when that does eventually happen, the iPad Pro 2020 will still be a solid buy and should be a lot cheaper on the used market. I'm very happy with my iPad Pro 2020. The 8 months I've had it, I've learned so much just about the device and beneficial changes to my workflow and entertainment needs. But will that be the case for everyone? Will everyone enjoy the iPad Pro 2020 as their only computing device? No. But I think if you do find yourself with an iPad, especially an iPad Pro, you won't regret it, because it's guaranteed to provide at least one experience you didn't know you needed. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, and consider subscribing to the channel. This has been Herb with Silicon Tech, and see you on the next one. Peace.